Hi everyone and welcome to Club Live here at Club at 22, the Rangers podcast. We are live on YouTube tonight. So the usual, if you get your comments in, it's just me and Carney tonight. So if you get your comments in, we might even get to answer a couple of questions as well. Like and share, subscribe. We are, as we always say, we're very close to the 6,000 barrier. So that'd be much appreciated. So let's get into it. As it was last night in the car, it is me and Mr. Carney again. We're missing some members tonight. Mr. Haymarch, who was after his 3 in a row that he was bragging about, being on 3 times in a row, he is no longer here. He has a Christmas night out. And a guy called Mr. Gemmell, I don't even know who he is anymore, Carney, to be honest. How are you tonight, anyway?
Yes, mate, I'm good. Yes, always a delight to be here on a Friday night, mate. It's what we're all about. And I was saying to you, I don't know if it's just because it has been bad. I don't know, but I get the distinct feeling that it ends up just being me and you when things aren't going too well, mate. Or there's bumps in the road, if you like. But yes, it's good to be here, mate. It's always good to start Friday night. Like start my weekend like this. Only seems right, and yeah. I don't know where the other guys are, to be honest. No, to be fair, they've all got stuff on, but yeah, just the two of us, mate. There's a song in there, I think.
Yeah, to be fair, it was December the 1st today, so it's getting to that Christmas time and folk have nights out and stuff. So Mr. Haymarch will get a pass tonight for that one. We'll let him off for that one. But it's turning into, Carney, the Club at 22, the negative podcast. We did morph into the positive podcast at one point, but we're slowly drifting back into the negative podcast. Hopefully not for too long, but we'll get back into it. Obviously, it was me and you that broke down the game last night against Limassol. I've had obviously time to digest it a wee bit and think about it. I've watched the highlights of it. I'll be honest, Carney, I don't know what your feelings are, but I've not changed from what we basically said not that long ago in the car. Ultimately, it was a disappointing night by Rangers, a missed opportunity, and once again, a game where Rangers, there's a slight bit of pressure on them to go and win something which actually means something, and they've failed again. Take it you haven't changed your opinions for last night.
No, I haven't, mate. I think I always say after we do reactions when we come out just out of Ibrox, you are still very much full of emotion, and sometimes a day later you might feel a slightly different upon it. I don't feel any different really from what I saw last night. And you're also, because of the way me and you are, okay, the way you and I tend to be, mate, we are very reactionary. We are very full of emotion when we watch Rangers. It's the fans that we are. We were muttering to each other as we were driving back to your gaff, mate, before we'd done the pod. We were saying I hate football sometimes. I hate the fact that this dictates my life and it takes over me, and I get so emotionally involved that it affects how I feel. It affects how I feel in everyday life. So, but it's again, sometimes you say next day you kind of look at it again, maybe from a different perspective, but no. And you're also very wary that you don't know how the rest of the world is reacting. It's very easy for us, and it's good for us to be able to sit and do the post match the way that we do after leaving Ibrox. But you still sometimes think, is this just me and Ali being me and Ali, or is the rest of the world in agreement with us? And the rest of the world, the rest of the Rangers world, were pretty much in agreement, mate. It's not a good performance at all. It's I say I've seen the highlights. I didn't manage to see the full game back. I've not had time today due to being at work, and you can't do that. Thank you very much for the £5. Really do appreciate the donation, mate. That's very, very kind of you. But yeah, you can't. As Caroline's just said there, you can't help being negative, and you can't. And I'll always say it. Like I think we had a comment in the post match last night about somebody saying, "I can't go on about you listening bleating about Lammers," and I'm going, "Well, I don't know what player you're watching. Do you know? I just can't understand that." But yeah, I mean, it's very poor. It is. It's very, very poor. It's not a good showing, really, from where we would expect to be, especially against a team like Limassol. They're not a particularly great team, and to say we made hard work of it last night, it's just an absolute understatement, mate. It was a calamity from Rangers last night. Just nowhere near where we should be, or where we should be aiming for.
No, I was driving through Edinburgh today for work, and I put other Rangers podcast on, I listen to the guys at Heart and Hand, and we're all singing off the same hymn sheet, to be honest, in terms of the last 2 games. I mean, we don't like to come on here and be negative, but I'd like to think the majority of people that listen to us and watch us on YouTube can watch us because we'll say what we see. If Rangers are crap, we'll say they're crap.
Oh, shit.
Davey 1642. Much appreciated, especially
Thank you, mate.
as Ryan says, it's Christmas time now and there's presents to be bought and everything, so much appreciated for that. But no, we're not trying to be negative, we're just saying what we see. There's no point in us coming on here, Carney, and sugarcoating things, because I don't think folk would like that. I wouldn't like that personally myself, so we will continue to say what we see, basically. And the last 2 games from Rangers haven't been good, and not up to the standard, to be honest. But I'm not going to break down the game, Karen, because we broke it down last night. I thought we'll talk about key things in terms of Clement's presser afterwards. It was about, I don't know if you listened to it today, but it was 12 minutes long. The big one, which we'll start on, and which we touched on last night, Todd Cantwell, which has been doing the rounds all day on Twitter and last night, and people have spoke to at work, and I'd assume you've done the same today about it. I thought he contradicted himself last night, Clement, when he said he took him off because we lacked width. Cantwell wasn't doing what he wanted to do. And then said he knows Cantwell can't really play. That's not his best position. His position is a 10. He did then kind of say that obviously he played there against Sparta Prague, and he did decent out there, to be fair. But hooking him off, Carney, and put McCausland. McCausland was the right choice. McCausland, for me, should have started from the very start. I thought he was crying out for width that game. I thought we'd get a bit of joy, so I would have played him. But to take Cantwell off and leave your man Lammers still in the park, it's a bizarre decision, Carney. I don't know what your thoughts were on listening to his presser last night or today about what he said, because I just thought he kind of contradicted himself a bit.
Yes, I watched it when I got home, mate. You know what I'm like? I get home and I'm so unbelievably pissed off. Yeah, pissed off that there's no chance I'm going to sleep. So when I came in, the wee man was well asleep, Mrs. was well asleep, mate, and I sat and watched different bits, different pods, and then obviously watched the presser as well. And yeah, I do think, reading between the lines, I think he's done it to make a point. I think he feels like Cantwell wasn't doing what he was told, because he said, the way that he mentioned it, like he wasn't following his instructions. Is that a criticism we should fling towards Cantwell? Yes, probably. It probably is. However, the man must be so frustrated. He must be so unbelievably annoyed. And the fact that Clement himself is saying that Cantwell's best position is the 10, but we're persevering with him playing on the right. Of course the guy's going to get annoyed. Of course he's going to get upset. I don't think Cantwell has been great this season. I don't. Do I think he's had a real chance to play in his preferred role? No. So it's kind of, if Borna Barisic was playing centre half and he was terrible, you would be still saying, well, he's not a centre half, and that's kind of the way I feel about Cantwell. It's okay attacking positions, yes, but not everybody's suited to just constantly swapping about. In my opinion, Cantwell's most effective through the middle. I think in pretty much everybody's opinion that Cantwell is most effective through the middle. And weirdly, that's Clement's opinion too. Why you wouldn't have started McCausland against a level of opponent like Limassol, when you know, what he was saying is that we were going to need width. I'm baffled by it. And I can only put it down to a bad day at the office, that he's thought to himself, maybe Lammers could have an impact in this game, maybe find a wee bit of form, maybe give him the benefit of the doubt considering how awfully poor he has been. But it backfired, and it backfired onto Cantwell because he wasn't doing what he was told. So he pulled him in order to make more of a statement. I think it was brave to do so. I think it was extremely brave to do so, because he must have known in the back of his head, people are not going to be too happy when I do this here. But to an extent, I can understand why he did do it. But as I can't remember if I said it on the pod last night, if he'd have made a double sub where he pulled off Lammers and Cantwell and put on Lawrence and McCausland, I would have completely understood it. I don't think there would be half as much grumbling as there is about it just now, or much of an issue that's reared its head with it. It was the first sign, the first thing that Clement's done where I've went, what are you doing here? And I don't think anybody really has any other opinion apart from it was the wrong substitution to make.
Yeah, I agreed with him making the change because it wasn't working. We were crying out for width, so
but it
I
does
agree.
work. Like that's the thing. Like we know it doesn't work. It's been tried and it doesn't work.
I know. Us as just normal football fans, we've been watching this for weeks and weeks, and we know Cantwell can't play out there. But I get why he did it. Need to give him kind of praise for changing at that point. A lot of managers probably wouldn't. They wait to this not even half time, 60 minutes, 70 minutes, whatever it is. But he did. It was the wrong guy for me to take off, and obviously Lammers still there. And he also said about McCausland that he didn't start the game mainly because of his age, and he kind of wants to drip feed him into the team going forward. And I get McCausland hasn't played much games, but boy's 19. He's just signed a contract with Rangers. He's buzzing. If you listen to his interview last night, he said that he knew he was going to score last night. The guy's full of confidence. I don't care if he's 19. For me, you play him. I don't know what your thoughts on that are, Carney, in terms of he wants to kind of drip feed him into his team. It's an area that's up for grabs. He's not got the players to play there, but he does because he's got a boy in McCausland, 19 years of age. Play him.
I agree. I hate that whole if he's not good enough. No, if he's not old enough or he's not got as much experience. If he's good enough to be in the first team, he's good enough to play. If he's good enough for you to put as much effort as you could into keeping him at the club in order to get him to sign an extended contract and a contract with the first team, then he is good enough. I don't like that excuse. I fully agree that the selection of the team was wrong. I do think a lot of the comments that Clement made after the game were him trying to take the heat off himself, probably take the heat off the players to an extent because of him getting the team selection wrong. I think he's going to know he got it wrong on the night. I think he has to take blame. Well, he has to take an element of the blame. I think the majority of the blame does go on to the players because they were awful. Honestly, probably 8 out of the 11 on the park were shocking, really shockingly bad. So I think he was furiously trying to justify what he'd done, if that makes sense, in terms of not playing McCausland from the start. I think he should have started. At the age thing, every time McCausland's made an appearance for us, he's impressed. Don't get me wrong, I think the game, the level of the game, it dragged him down last night. I thought he got pulled into wrong decision making at times, but again, he is a young lad and he will still be learning. I do understand that, but if he's good enough, play him. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, and you can't use that as a kind of wall to hide behind, the fact that he's only 19. I'm sorry, I don't really go along with that at all. I think if he's good enough, you play him, and I think it was the wrong choice to start the 11 that he done. And I think really when you read between the lines of what Clement's going on about, I think he's just trying to furiously justify his team selection.
Yeah, and then I mean, you come on to the players that we brought in the summer, Carney. We're going for a winner. Last night, as we were Aberdeen when we were trailing the game, and you've got a guy in Dessers, reportedly £4.5 million we paid for him, can't even get on. Kamar Roof was on the bench last night again. Was he just there filling a seat for me last night again? Didn't come on. Some of these signings, Carney, well, reportedly Michael Beale signed them all. I can't believe he scouted all these players from certain areas of the world. Cifuentes, players like that. There must be somebody else there with them. But these players that have come in, Carney, I mean, if you quickly go through them, Jack Bolton for me, best signing by a country mile. Sterling, not really seen him.
I don't know.
Every time I've seen him, I've went, look kind of average. Double, injured all the time. Cifuentes and Lammers, shadows last night. Dessers can't go in the park, and Seamer. He said in the presser last night, Carney, with Seamer, because I've said Seamer's been pretty poor the last couple of games, and I think he has. That's why I wouldn't have played him last night. I think he's been shocking, to be honest, the last couple of games. And he said the reason for Seamer's level dropping is because he's had a baby recently and he's had less sleep. Again. And it throws me on to what he said later on in terms of in December and January, there's more players having babies. So basically expect a dip in performances. I was baffled by what he said, Carney. I just thought it was nonsense from a guy that I think speaks really well in press conferences. And I think he's clever with his words. I don't know where he was going with him.
Yeah, I think he put onto the team that's the first that he'd noticed nervousness within the team.
Yeah.
I think that's the first time we've seen Clement a wee bit under pressure in a press conference, to be honest. Look, I don't know the player's personal business, and it's not up to me to know the player's personal business. It's their business, it's their life, and we don't know. And maybe there's been, I hope not, but maybe there's been complications with Seamer's child or whatever. And who knows? I don't know. Do you know what I mean? Because I've been there, I've done that. I had complications at the start with my wee boy, so I get it. But at the end of the day, he just shouldn't have said that. It was one of those comments that he made. I was like, how is that relevant? How has that got anything to do with it?
Unless the players were actually physically having the babies.
Yeah, exactly.
They're not even having the baby.
And then the Roy Keane thing was getting pinged about after that as well. Yeah, I seen that. But no, it's like my levels, I don't think dropped when I was at my work. My levels, I don't think the podcast levels dropped. I don't know. People probably will say that it did.
I get comments in the chat there.
Yeah, did it drop when I had when I had a win? And I mean me personally, yes, it wasn't my missus, it was me. Yeah, just a bizarre comment. I just thought, stop talking. Do you know what I mean? I was like, stop talking now. I didn't get it, and it was a wee bit like he was making an excuse, mate. I do believe that's right. I think he was looking for some form of excuse for Seamer levels dropping. It's going to happen with players. Players are going to drop in and out of form. It always happens. Yeah. They hit patches where they're really good. They hit patches where they're not. I think Seamer's just hitting a bit of a rut just now, and he's not that he's a one-trick pony, but people are beginning to figure him out a little bit, and he's maybe need a slight adjustment in the way he's approaching games, the way he's dealing with the ball, his runs that he's making, these sort of things, so he doesn't become just a kind of one-trick pony. But I mean, I don't really know why he brought up the thing about the babies, mate. I think the less said about that, the better, because it's just a crazy thing to come out and say. Colin Montgomery, thank you so much for the donation. Very, very much appreciated. Thank you.
Yeah, and we've talked about him a lot in this category. Folk must think this is the Sam Lammers bashing podcast.
Here we go.
But we need to talk about. I mean, we talk about him all the time, and we talk about Dessers. We've talked about Dessers less because he's not played football. He's been on the bench most of the time, and he actually has scored a couple of goals. Dessers, still not great, but Lammers for me, I speaking to folk today again about it. I honestly don't see it. I don't see what he sees. I was speaking to a guy at work today, and he says he must be an absolute world in training. But he's a lost jersey for me in the middle of the park, can't he? You don't even know he's there half the time. I don't get it. I really don't get it. And if I see him in that team on Sunday, Carney, I'll be even more concerned, because the guy, he's a human being at the end of the day, but he's never at the level to play for Rangers, Carney. I just think £3 million we wasted on this guy, and he's dreadful to say the least. And but he continually gets a game.
It's looking at as I do feel like I go on about it all the time, and I do think that some people think that I get joy out of it, and I keep emphasising that I genuinely don't. I want every player to be a success. Even last night, I was after I dropped you off. Stevie Clifford messaged me, and he said, "I seen you getting a hard time in comments of one of your pods about Lammers," and he gave me a stat about him. And he said that Sam Lammers lost the ball 14 times last night. 15
God.
times, I think, last night. For 55 minutes he was on the pitch. His pass completion rate was something like 52, 53%. No key passes, no key chances created. And I'm like, and I'm meant to sit here and pretend that he's. Thank you very much, Steve. Thank you very much, mate. Really appreciate that. But I'm meant to sit here and pretend that I'm seeing something in the guy. Sam Lammers is a joke of a player right now. There is nothing there. There isn't anything there. I don't believe that he's that much out of form. I don't think there is much more to come from him. I think he's had enough chances now to prove to supporters, the manager, this podcast, that there is something in there, and there isn't. There just isn't. I'm not going to be convinced by him now. He's one that I'm baffled that he gets picked. Even last night, mate, when he got picked, I thought, you know what, I'm going to give the benefit of the doubt just one more time. I've got the benefit of the doubt for one more time. And my dad was sitting next to him, and he's pointing at him and going, what is that guy? What is he doing? What does he offer this team? And the chance that he got, and it hits his standing foot and bounces back out the box, like when he gets crossed into the box. I was like, this guy's... He must have been laughing his head off when Rangers came knocking. Honestly, he must have went, you absolute beauty. I'm getting a chance here with a pretty decent wage, good money spent on the guy. No. For me, it's just a no. I don't want to see him anywhere near a Rangers team. I don't think he deserves to be there. I think there's probably somebody in the youth team that I'm probably not even fully aware of that would probably deserve more of a chance than what Lammers does. He's not our number 10. He's not a striker. He's not a wide player. He's not a Rangers player for me. I don't think he ever will be. I think he's a terrible signing and by far the worst that we've made this season.
Yeah. And the bizarre thing about it is we've got two number 10s fit at the moment.
Better than him.
Play there.
Yeah. And also, just see for, again, just to always, I like to be completely clear. When I seen Lammers at the start and we seen him in pre-season, I was all for him. Genuinely, I was all for him. Yeah. I'm not trying to just do this to get a reaction. I'm allowed to change my opinion, and it is my opinion. At the start, I thought, there's a bit of a player in there. He was doing quite well. Things were going all right. Since the start of the season proper, he's been nowhere near it. He's been absolutely nowhere near it. And if anything, he's got worse.
Yeah. And just before we move on, the last guy, this sounds like we're having a bit of a bashing session here, but...
after last night, mate, it's kind of understandable, I suppose.
It's therapeutic, isn't it? Bashing the players. But no, it's the next guy I want to talk about, who we touched on last night, Cifuentes, Carney. He's played the last couple of games for us. At Aberdeen, he was all right for me. I think a lot of people said he actually played quite well. But last night for me, he was a lost jersey for me. He looked like he didn't want to be there. When it going got tough, didn't want to be there. I don't know what he is. What is it? I don't know his actual position as a footballer. Again, we bring these guys in and we don't know where they play. What's your thoughts on Cifuentes? Again, he's been in and out the Rangers team. He was injured. He's been back in again, but he's another guy that I don't see it in him at all. And I hope he really changes my mind. But again, it's a guy for the MLS. We've went and got Carney, and it's looking like a bit of a disaster again.
Absolutely. Barry said Cifuentes is terrible.
There you go, Barry. Barry said it for me.
Just says, easy, he's crap, next point. See, last night, that's the way that I felt. As bad as Lammers was last night, I would say for the 55 minutes Lammers was on, he became the worst player. Cifuentes in especially that first 30 minutes, oh my goodness, he was nowhere. Like, when he got the ball to his feet, he was taking an age to move the ball on. There was a player on top of him every time. When they were coming forward and the player was dropping deep, he was getting pulled in, he was getting turned. He just wasn't at the races at all. We were told he was a box-to-box midfielder, and that's what we would expect, a kind of rampaging box-to-box midfielder. I've not seen any of that. I really haven't seen any of that. At points last night, he had in that game, in my opinion. He did not want to be involved. He was very poor, very, very poor. And right now, we're left with him as really the only option. Now, we have probably maybe not we've not seen as much of him as we've seen of the Dessers and Lammers to an extent. We've not seen as much of him, but from what I'm seeing so far, I'm not really getting it. I'm not really getting I'm not getting the player that I thought that we were signing. Because I remember as well thinking this is an exciting signing by all reports and what people were saying about him and the obligatory clips that you see online on Twitter, whatever else, but we've not seen any of it. His passing seems very, very poor. His fitness seems pretty much non-existent. He doesn't really have a lot of legs to keep up with the pace. And yeah, so far, I'm not impressed by what I'm seeing. I think people forget as well, and I don't want to bleat on about it, but Ibrox isn't a nice place to be when things aren't going particularly well, but the players have to know that before they come here, that look, that it's a bit of a cauldron to be playing at Ibrox. If things are not going well, the fans will let you know, and whether he's just somebody that can't cope with that or not, I'm not sure, but I'm kind of trying to be as polite as I can about it, mate, but right now I just don't get it. I don't see it. There's more games to come for him because we don't have many options there. So I believe that he'll continue to play, maybe try and play himself into form like we've tried with pretty much all our new signings, maybe apart from Butland. They're all kind of trying to play themselves into form, but so far, not massively impressed, mate. What is your opinion of Cifuentes?
If I'm blatantly honest, I don't think he's up to it. If I'm being honest, Carney, I don't see it when I see he's in the middle of the park. But I actually feel sorry for Lundstrom at points because I feel Lundstrom is doing.
He's carrying him.
Midfield. Yeah. He is cast, but the word for it, he's carrying him. He is carrying him, and he can't do his proper job, Lundstrom, because Lundstrom has been good for us.
I thought, if you want to be positive, I thought Looney was all right last night. I did.
Yeah, but he's trying to get things going, but he can't do it himself. He needs, dare I say, a Ryan Jack type player beside him. But Ryan Jack is, as we know, is injured at the moment. Raskin is injured at the moment. He's another one that is injured quite a lot. And Cifuentes is in there. Maybe that's just not his position, Cifuentes. I don't know. But at the moment, he's a no for me, Carney. I just don't see it in him. He's not going to fight for me, Carney, especially in Scottish football. You know what you're playing against. I know that obviously that was Europe last night, but in Scottish football in particular, you're playing against these hammer throwers half the time, and he just looks like a guy that would just go into a shell for me. And unfortunately, we don't need that. So, yes, but that's the last of him having a wee bash at the players there. And obviously, before we get on to my favourite part of the show, which is the Manscaped advert.
And it's obviously a new one. It's a new one.
I know, and I've had a wee read of it as well. So
no, I wouldn't. Because it was just me and you, mate. I thought I better not put it in tonight because I
knew it a kind of Christmas edition one. So
and I've edited that, by the way. I have edited that. So brace yourself, everybody.
Brace yourselves. But yeah, so before we go into that one, obviously, the group as it stands, Carney, Betis are top on. They're on 9 points. We're on 8. Sparta's on 7 and Limassol's on 4. And all 4 points they got off of us, which is shocking. But as it stands, Carney, we need to go to Betis and win, I would think, because I can't see. I know Sparta are away to Limassol, and Limassol do have something to play for, but I just can't. I can't see Limassol beating Sparta. I'd expect Sparta to beat Limassol. So for me, we have to go out to Seville and beat Betis in their backyard to, ironically, top the group. For me, as I said last night, I can't see it, and I'm expecting the conference for us for next year. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't go quite there yet because but look, I get it. I get that point of view, mate. I'm not for 1 second saying that I think you're erratic or anything like that with that thought process, especially after what you watched last night. And when you say they've got the 4 points Limassol have got it off us, you're like, of course it is. But it wouldn't be like Rangers not to do things the hard way, mate. And that's very much what we've left ourselves on with here. There's a number of things that I believe that's wrong with the mentality of the team. I think the underdog in European football suits them. And I wouldn't be shocked. I wouldn't be shocked if we got a performance in Betis, but I also wouldn't be shocked if we get beat quite convincingly in Betis as well, exactly the same time, because of this mentality thing. Because it's very bipolar. And I think in European competitions, particularly, it's very, very bipolar. So if I had to put a bet on it now, mate, I would think, well, if we get a draw, if we get a draw and Sparta win, what's still the conference? Is that right?
Yeah, for us to, if we get beat basically out in Spain or draw, if Sparta win. Draw basically, if Sparta draw against Limassol, we're through, regardless of what happens.
Regardless of what happens,
I just can't see it. I think they'll beat them.
Yeah, hopefully Limassol do us a favour. But yeah, no, I'd look at it as it's one of those things. We're going to need to wait and see. There is a lot of things that could happen between then and on the night of the game. I mean, the result of the Sparta and Limassol game might come into play, but for us to have to go out there and win that to top the group, I don't know if it would tell the full story of this group. I really don't think it would. We would almost steal it to win that group, I think, if we were to do so. But you don't. That's what I mean with the team, though. You don't know what Rangers you're going to get. You honestly, you've not got a clue. They might be brilliant on the night, and we might have a right good go at Betis and get ourselves a win. But yeah, after last night and what I've seen, I think before we even come on to it, and I hate to jump ahead and do an alley, but the two ruts of games that we've seen there, the two performances that we've seen back to back there, that has to be it. It has to stop there. We can't continue on a run like that and just see a kind of downward trajectory of this squad again. The new manager bounce, whatever way you want to talk about it, the honeymoon, all that kind of stuff is over because of the last two performances, and that's how quick it is. We always say it, you're always one game at Rangers away from a disaster. I wouldn't quite say we're in a disaster, but we're treading on a line right now that I feel that the sooner the better. Rangers have to snap out of it and start performing. RFC 56, thank you so much for the donation. But yeah, if I had to put my money on it now, I would say it's a conference, mate. Yeah, I would go along with you.
Yeah, I think that too. But as you say, Carney, it wouldn't shock me if Rangers were out there one for some reason, end up topping that group. It wouldn't shock me because they're a wee bit bipolar at times, this Rangers team. So anyway, let's go on to my favourite part of the show. Here we go. Time for a word from our sponsors. The season for a fresh cut is here with your sponsors of this podcast, Manscaped. The leaders in below-the-waist grooming have just launched their 5th generation lawnmower to help you avoid another silent night in the bedroom this year. Take care of your South Pole with Manscaped and watch it shine like never before. Get the best stocking filler of all by going to manscaped.com and using the code CLUB@22 for 20% off and free shipping. Mrs. Claus will thank you. Starting with the Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra, this is the crown jewel of the holidays and, dare I say, the best ball trimmer of all time. The Electric Razor advanced skin-safe technology is a lifesaver and known for reducing nicks and cuts on your Santa sack. But the fun doesn't stop there. The Manscaped Beard Hedger Pro Kit and Handyman Electric Face Shaver are a must-buy Christmas gift for all your facial hair needs. Also, save the day with the Weed Whacker 2.0 nose and ear hair trimmer. Also, take care of the chestnuts with Manscaped's Boxers 2.0, featuring our signature jewel pouch to keep you calm, cool, and collected. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code CLUB@22 at manscaped.com. That's 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com with the code CLUB@22. Say ho 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 to a well-groomed mistletoe with Manscaped.
Well done, mate. That's probably one of the best ones you've ever done. That one wasn't too bad, to be honest. There was a few things about Thanksgiving and that flung in, and I was like, I can't really. Well, I suppose we probably get people in America that do watches. Probably some players out there that do. Oh, I've got Justin. Sorry, Justin. How rude of me.
The main man himself.
Yeah, but
no. Texas.
Manscaped, get yourself some Manscaped stuff for Christmas, that's for sure. As you say, Mrs. Claus will thank you if that's the way that you roll at Christmas time. But no, thank you very much to Manscaped for the continued support. They are superb. And I always say, if you use our code, you're supporting our podcast, and we can't thank you enough for doing so. And genuinely, their stuff is absolutely amazing.
Yeah, no. Like, Christopher, the comment says, well, my big clock behind me makes me look like St. Ali. Like a
See,
halo.
that's what it does. You got a halo. That's funny.
Yeah, that's Ryan's favourite clock behind me. So
That is.
But yeah, no, but no, thanks to Manscaped, that their products are fantastic. But yes, let's continue with more Rangers news today. And literally, just as I sent the agenda through today, Carney, as always happens, Rangers drop something. A statement today, basically. This has been a wee bit of a rumour for the last couple of weeks. I know Scotia and Ryan at the Fans Forum said this was coming in the next couple of weeks, and it has. So we have appointed, I'd assume this is how you say his name, Niels Koppen from PSV Eindhoven as Director of Football Recruitment. A 30-year-old Noppen heads the role of Head of Scouting at PSV prior to joining Rangers, and he will join us on the 2nd of January. I'll just read a wee bit from the website here. Koppen comment, I'm delighted to be joining such a prestigious club like the Rangers in what is a crucial role for the club's forward strategy. The chairman and CEO have both been clear in recent times our player trade model has to function better and on a more regular basis. Hear. I look forward to working with the scouting team already at the club to ensure we reach our goals in the coming years. Rangers have also pleased to confirm the appointment of Tom Taylor as the club's new head of performance. Working closely with the manager, Dr. Mark Waller, and the first team, Taylor will join the Light Blues on December the 22nd from Brighton. What is your thoughts on that, Carney? I know it was obviously in the post, this one, but now it's kind of confirmed. We never knew who it was, but it's confirmed. And I think he has worked with Clement.
Genk.
Yes.
Yeah. So it looks like they've worked together. He wasn't the director of football though, but he was working with Clement there. Yeah, look, it very much looks like Clement's had a strong say in who was going to be appointed, and it's a crucial role now that Rangers had to appoint. I think the conversation that we've just had, mate, about the signings that we've made in the summer and how they've not hit anywhere near what we thought that they would when they first came into the club, then this role was crucial for Rangers to appoint, and it looks like Clement has very much got his man. I'm excited by it. Thank you so much in Royal Blue. That is fantastic. Thank you so much. That's brilliant. It kind of caught me off guard there. Thank you so much. That's amazing. So yeah, no, it was crucial, mate. It was crucial for us to do so, and as I say, now we are at this point, and what a job he's got in his hands, man. Honestly, what a job he's got. But it's everything in the statement and everything that he's saying is something that we've spoke about for a while now on the pod, that the player trading model isn't working. It is. We're not seeing the benefits of it. We're not seeing that we're not using it correctly, I don't think. Which is, again, it's one of those things that we will all need to get used to from time to time, because players are going to come here, they're going to be really good. Well, that's what you want to happen. You're going to be really good. You're going to absolutely love them, and then the first opportunity that comes around, they'll be moved on. But it's all about trying to win us success with the time that they're here for the 1 season, 1.5 seasons, 2 seasons, whatever it may be that they are here, and we sell on at a major profit. So that's what we have to be aiming for, and he does. He's got a job on his hands now. But yes, it's an appointment that I approve of. It's an appointment that I am very much looking forward to. It is good news. It's nice to have a bit of positivity on the podcast tonight. But I think it's the correct step by the club, and it does very much, as I say, look like Clement has got his man. In terms of Tom Taylor, I don't know what that job entails, but welcome to Rangers, mate.
I think that the main one out of there was Koppen joining, but I think he's a vital cog in Rangers, Carney. You've seen what happened when Beale got free rein, and what's happened in the mess he's left us in with players that we won't we won't be able to sell on for a profit. I'd imagine these, apart from Jack Butland, he's the only one I can see we could make money on. The rest of them, I think, we'll be taking losses on them. So he's key. I liked how he said that about the player trade model has to be better, because it has to be. That's the way Rangers' only way of making serious money is in European football and the player trading model. Mm-hmm. And it pains me to say it, but the other side of the city have done that very well over the past God knows how many years. it's a model we need to do. We've only done a couple of players really in the last couple of years, but it needs to be more regular. So it was I was happy to see him in Carney. So we will see when he arrives on the 2nd of January, but I'd like to be thinking behind the scenes he is thinking of a plan of how to get rid of certain players, Mr. Lammers, Mr. Dessers, and maybe a couple other players too.
Pacer said there, how did this draw end up at Rangers? Because we didn't have a director of football. That's why. Because we entrusted it into the head of scout. Well, look, that's something else that probably needs looked at as well, mate, because we spoke about it as well, wanting to see, like, who scouted these guys? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, you're not telling me Beale scouted all the players.
Not all of them. He couldn't have. Of course, he had the final say. I do understand that. He pretty much had the final say, but there is still definitely... And look, and I understand that not all signings are going to be a success, but you would still expect to see kind of something from them. Dessers is probably on that borderline, if that makes sense. And I don't think he's good enough either, but he has scored goals for us. He's definitely shown improvement since we first seen him. I don't think there's any doubt about that. Still, nobody put words in my mouth here. I'm not saying that he's the future number 9 for Rangers or anything of the sorts, but just when you look at Cifuentes, when you look at Lammers, Sterling to an extent we've not seen. I mean, I think Sterling and Dill will probably be fine. I think they'll probably be all right squad players. Like, I think they could come in and do a job in the run-of-the-mill games in the league, but it's the where the money's been spent is the one that you really have to raise eyebrows over.
Yeah. No, but it'll be interesting with him coming in, Carney, obviously. I said in the podcast last night, Carney, I don't expect big signings in January, because for me, we need to get short of players before we bring players in. I could potentially see a couple of loan signings coming in. For me, it's a summer, Carney, when he'll properly, along with the new director of football, they'll get a right good chance to bring hopefully decent players in this time, because we can't every season be going round and bringing 10 players in a season. It's not sustainable. It's not the way it works. So, and we have a big a high wage budget as well, which is another issue which we need to try and trim down too. So yes, it will be interesting when he starts in the new year. But moving on, we have another game. We are back at Ibrox on Sunday. The joys. So there's a game every bloody 3 days at the moment. You know what it's like at Christmas time. It's hectic. But yes, we welcome St Mirren, Carney, on Sunday. St Mirren at the moment are sitting third in the league. They've won 6, drawn 4, lost 4. They've lost 3 out of their last 5 though. They get beat by Ross County the other night, 1-0. Their form's slightly dipped. There wasn't a presser today. There was if you go into Rangers YouTube, there was literally a 2-minute kind of
a clip from last night
with Clement.
Must have been pre-agreed. That must have been pre-agreed.
Yeah, I'd assume just in times. But yeah, he basically said he expects St Mirren. He actually said he expects St Mirren to kind of sit in, basically, and kind of the usual scrap for everything. In terms of players, I don't know why they really mentioned he said Scott might be back, which I'd assume is Scott Wright. So he may be back.
I thought he was talking about Scotia. Scotia might be back.
Oh no. He's gone forever, I think. So yeah. We might lose quite a few subscribers over that, Carney, if I just said Scotia's never coming back, because a lot of them tune in for them. He will be back, everyone. Don't worry. It's the way shifts at work are at the moment. That is why he is not on.
And his nervousness. Don't forget his
nervousness.
And
he gets nervous now and again too. So yes, he will be back. Don't worry. But yeah, Scott Wright is back. Ryan Jack is still out. Raskin is still out. It's the same group of players we need to go with, Carney. Obviously, Matondo, know I've kind of appeared in the last couple of weeks. But what's your thoughts with St Mirren coming to Ibrox on Sunday?
Yeah, I think their form has very much taken a dip. But I don't think they're not playing the levels that they were before. And that game against Ross County was particularly poor for them to lose that game. But Sunday's going to come around all too quickly, mate. To be honest, I'm like, but no, look, they always say that it's on to the next game and we can only ever look forward, and I suppose that is the case. Rangers just have to, as I say, I don't want to paint the wall again, but Rangers just have to go out with this rut that we're in for these 2 games. And it was something I think you mentioned. The lull has returned again while we're playing football, and it's one of the most frustrating things in the world to watch. We've lost
Stevie
the
Clifford
tendency.
got a right. See, Stevie Clifford got a right bit of a doing for Clement when he asked. Did you see when he asked a question
aye,
about
yeah.
about the side words in terms of the way we play football before?
Yeah, it was. No, I know. But again, I'll always give Stevie credit. It's not just
Fair
because
play,
he's
because
a pod friend
asked
or anything.
he asked the question, yeah.
He asked the questions, and he gets a hard time for not asking the questions. And I'm like, well, I think he does. I think he's quite brave for the questions that he will ask, especially when things are not going particularly well. But no, I say it's a game for us to try and right the wrongs, I suppose. I think they're probably we're probably playing them at quite a good time. They're, as I say, in a bit of a rut just now as well. But we are looking to bounce back. We're very much looking to bounce back. I think it's disappointing that there's not going to be many players back for the game on Sunday, but I suppose it's to kind of be expected with the injuries that we have. Hopefully a few make a surprise return, and he's kind of kept his cards close to his chest in that regard, because it did seem like he just wanted out of the presser last night after the chat of last night's game was done. But look, it's 3:00 on a Sunday. What could possibly go wrong? I think it's just crucial for us to implement our game again onto our team, to take a bit more pride and show a bit more passion again, and just get back to what we were seeing when Clement first came in. It wasn't always going to be like that, and we always knew there was going to be bumps in the road, but to get 2 back-to-back the way we have is a concern, and I'm not going to lie, it is. If it was a one-time off, you go, right, okay, if we'd have come on last night against Limassol, won that game relatively convincingly, you would be going, right, okay, we seem to be going back in the same direction again. I don't think Clement will miss them and hit the wall after last night. I think he'll have hit them right in between the eyes. They'll know exactly what he now expects from them going forward, and if anything, and I'm sorry to sound like James Tavernier here, but I think Clement will be learning a lot about these group of players. I'm by no means I'm at the point where I'm writing Clement off. I don't think that's going to do anybody any favours, and I do still like what he's been trying to implement while we were playing good, when he first came in, and we've seen the kind of progression of the team and the belief coming back into the team. But just this wee knock has to only be a wee knock. Instead of one bump, it was a double bump, and now we can't afford to have another one. But we're going to have to come out. We're going to have to, as you always say, and I'll say it in case it does happen, that we're going to need a bit of a performance, something for the fans to get back on side with, because we're just looking for that wee bit. And even last night, I thought, even after we scored, I thought we gave the fans, we got right behind the crowd again, right behind the team again. The crowd were right up for it, and the team just fell back into the kind of lull again, even as it went one each. And the lack of intensity shown to go and get a winner was really concerning, really, really concerning. So hopefully, whatever that was is now out of their system, and we go on to Sunday, mate, and feeling much better about ourselves and convincingly beat St Mirren. That's what I hope to happen.
Yeah, no, I hope so, because they have to. I mean, that's as you said, it's two in a row. The Aberdeen game, I don't think they weren't terrible in the Aberdeen game, but at the same time, we weren't good enough to win the game, and it was disappointing because of what happened on the previous day. But they need to really go out, and they need a shake for me. These Rangers players, they need to go out on Sunday and put a performance on for us, because we've got massive games coming up. We go away to Tynecastle next Wednesday. They'll be hurting from, obviously, us with our last-minute winner at Ibrox and then beating them at Hampden. They'll want to get one over us at Tynecastle. I say it's always a difficult place to get. Last time we were at Tynecastle, we actually did quite well, but it'll be a tough game at Tynecastle. And then we've got, I think it's Dundee. I think we've got at Ibrox or something at that weekend, and then we've got Betis, and then we've got the cup final. So they're coming thick and fast, and they need to get out this wee rut they're in, and try and get a bit of momentum going, especially with this cup final coming up. They need to go into that on form for me. And the last time we played St Mirren, which was under Steve Davis, we actually won 3-0, which was surprising that because I did not expect it. St Mirren were flying at that point. St Mirren were confident of taking points off the Rangers, and Rangers won. But no, I'm expecting a performance from. I think they owe us a performance, this Rangers team, especially after the last two games, and I'm hoping they can put on some sort of show and just get back on the horse and let's get going again, because they really need to. For me, in December, Carney, I mean, they need to win this League Cup. I mean, that'll take care of itself. But in the league, we have to win every single game up to the Old Firm game.
And the Old Firm game. We have to.
And the Old Firm game.
We have to win the Old Firm game. Yeah. No, we have to. There's no excuse. There's as crazy as it sounds to some football fans of other teams that listen to us, but that's what we have to be aiming for. We have to win every single league game and the Old Firm, then win the game against Kilmarnock, and then we get a couple of weeks off to kind of regroup and see where we are. It could be. There's now even more pressure, I suppose, on the team and on Clement. The fact that last night didn't go the way that we all expected it to, and we did. Everybody expected Rangers to get through last night. We wouldn't really need to worry about the Betis game. Now all of a sudden the Betis game's much bigger than it should have been. We're also have to travel to. We're obviously having to do the travel before the cup final as well, which again adds pressure onto that. And as we are building up to these two games in particular, that's why Rangers need to get out of this rut. We need to find a bit of form again and start performing and start beating teams convincingly when we should be beating teams convincingly, because the last thing we want to be doing is going into that cup final in this kind of same lull that we've fallen into over these past two games. It's going to be critical now, and Sunday's the best place to do it. I say a St Mirren team that's beginning to struggle with their form. It's going to be at Ibrox. It should be a game that we are winning, and it's a game that the players should be looking at and going, right, let's almost go again. Let's start where we were. Let's do the things that we were doing, and let's show a bit of belief in each other again, and really kick on, because the nervousness, and not the same nervousness that Scotia gets, but the nervousness that Clement said that he's seen in the team last night, that has to go. We have to get that out of our minds. The players shouldn't have been nervous last night. Do you know what I mean? They shouldn't have been. They should have been confident that they could go out there and get that job done. So that for itself would be a concern for Clement. I think he will be concerned about the nervousness, as he called it. I think he'll be a wee bit like, didn't see that one coming, but it's not helped by his team selection, because I think even as professional football players, they're probably looking at Lammers and going, really? This guy? This guy again? Sorry for bashing Lammers, everybody, sorry. But yeah, no, look, it's we're entering December is always a crucial month. There's always a lot of football in December, and we said it before the games came back after the international break, that this was going to be a huge what's the word I'm looking for? We'll come back to in a minute. A huge marker of where we are going to be for the rest of this season. These games are going to determine how the rest of our season looks. So it's still just as critical as it was when we first started speaking about it.
Yeah, and talking about team selection, who is in your team for Sunday, your score and your first goal scorer?
Butland, Tavernier, Goldson, Suter, Redvan. I would play Rice. He's not even been appeared on the bench. I don't know if there's an issue there, but if he's been playing for the B team or whatever, I would play Rice. But I think it'll be Cifuentes and Lundstrom. I would play Cartwell in the 10, I'd play Sima on the left, I'd play McCausland on the right, and I'd play Danilo through the middle. And just quickly as well on Danilo, he's another one that's beginning to get dragged into this as well. I don't think he's been particularly great. I think he shows a lot of effort, and his pressing high is really good, but he's almost having to press games too much, and it's not leaving him with much left in the tank when he has to do his proper job by putting the ball in the back of the net. I don't think the service has been great to him as well, but he is one. Last night I was like, he wasn't particularly great either. But yeah, that would be my team, and my score is going to be 2-0 Rangers, and I'll go McCausland to score. No, if Cantwell plays in the 10, I'll go Cantwell to score first.
Yeah, no, I seen Danilo getting a wee bit of a hard time, and yeah, he's dropped a bit, Danilo, as have a lot of players, to be honest, and he's for me, Danilo's he's not a natural finisher, if you want to say. He needs quite a few chances to score a goal. Like that one last night that he should have really maybe hit first time or pulled down and had a shot. He's just... But then again, he's been out for quite a while, so I'm definitely not writing Danilo off. He's shown a lot more than a lot of the other players, and his pressing is very good for Rangers on the top line. But my team for Sunday would be Butland, Tav, Goldson, Balogun, Ryan's Turkish Delight, which you'll be happy to say, Yilmaz. I agree, I'll be lonesome. I think Cifuentes will come back in again. I think he'll play Cantwell in the 10 to make a point to the fans. So I think he'll play. I hope so. Danilo will play through the middle. McCausland on one side. And I think he'll stick with Sima on the other side to try and get him through this rut. I know Matondo's been kind of there, but Matondo came on the other night and he wasn't great, but he only really had a wee cameo, Matondo. He's maybe good to...
Scotia made the point, sorry Ali, Scotia made the point as well. I didn't really understand that Matondo substitution when he done it. I was like, this is not the game for Rabbi Matondo to come on. I didn't see it happening, but due to the way that the game was going, the way the game was kind of panning out, I thought this isn't really a game for.
I'd be bringing Matondo. If Rangers go a couple of goals up, for instance, and St Mirren need to come out, I'd be bringing Matondo on the last half hour or something, because I think he would get joy from me. So I'm going to go 3-0 Rangers, and I'm going to go Sima first goal scorer, because I think he's due to get one.
Yes.
Yeah. Because of his baby was born, so that's affected his performance. I thought that would have upped his performance, because he'd be on a high. And there he is, the main man himself, Justin Muir. Thanks very much, Justin. God bless America. My missus is actually out in America at the moment where I work, Justin. So she's not too far from me. But no, much appreciated.
Well, I think is that not quite a distance where she is and where he is? Where is she? Florida or something?
Aye, he's just below in Texas, isn't he? So
I don't even know where. I don't know Americans.
There's still a distance, Carly. It's still quite a distance, but in terms of states, they're not overly far away.
Oh, so. Right, okay, all right. Okay.
Aye, but no, much appreciated, Justin, as always, and everyone else that kindly donated tonight. You don't have to do that, but it is much appreciated by myself and Carney and the rest of the guys that are occasionally on the podcast as well.
Occasionally.
But yeah, we have got to pretty much the hour mark, Carney. I thought we might struggle tonight because it was the two of us.
Never do.
But as always, we get to the hour point. But yes, before I say goodbye to my guest tonight, I would like to say thank you to everyone in the comments tonight. Fantastic comments, a couple of laughs in there as well. The donations as well, as I said, very much appreciated. As I said, if you can like and share, we're getting extremely close to the 6,000 mark, which we'd love to do before the end of the season. And yes, last but not least, Mr. Carney, thanks for coming on and talking more negative Rangers news with me.
Yeah, fuck, mate. It's what it's all about, isn't it, mate? It's what it's all about. And I say Friday night doesn't seem normal anymore without doing the podcast. Really good chat tonight, mate. It's always good when you're able to sit and have a conversation and kind of rationalise it. And it's good. I love doing live ones because you can see people's comments coming in, and people will always disagree with us. They'll always think we're being a bit too harsh, which is absolutely fine. I don't criticise that at all, but there's also a lot of people that might be sitting thinking that they feel the same way as we do. So it's good. It really is. It's brilliant. The donations have been absolutely fantastic, and the chat's always good. There was some really funny ones tonight that I was giggling away at tonight. Some really good ones that I can't put up as well, but there's still ones that are very, very funny. So no, thank you, Alistair. Thank you, chat. I really hope your team wins on Sunday.
Yes, so do I. We will be back with a match reaction, hopefully with smiling faces to hopefully our Rangers win on Sunday. But we are being Club at 22, the Rangers podcast, and we will see you on Sunday. Good night.